What's up, Internet? My name is Michael Cook, and this is Blue Giant Media. We're here to help you find, learn, and play the games that you love. Today, we've got Patchwork by Rosenberg, published by Mayfair Games. We're going to open the box, we're going to set it up in real time so you can get a feel of how long it actually takes to set up, as well as how to set it up, and you can step along with me. Then we're going to play through the first several rounds of the game so you can get a good feel for the rules, how it plays, get a flow of the game so you can either jump right in, or so you can get a better understanding of whether this might be a game that you like, that fits your style. So, without further ado, let's ready, set, play. Okay, so Patchwork is a pretty quick setup, which is nice. I'm going to go ahead and take all the buttons, dump them out. You're going to have each player choose whether they're going to be the green or yellow. You're going to set the board one side or the other. It doesn't actually matter. The number of spaces to the middle is the same. It's purely aesthetic. So whichever one you like the look of. And then each player is going to get a player board. So we'll go ahead and do this, and we will randomly choose that you will go first. We will take all the little squares and place them on each of the little square spots. Set the 7x7 to the side. And we can stack all of these there. And then what you're going to do is take all of these pieces and you're going to make a circle around the board. Now usually you're going to make it around, and I guess we can do that. You're going to make it around the middle of the board. So we'll go ahead and try and see if we can make enough space for this. Alright. Let's see how we're doing here. Getting pretty close. Widen the arc out a little bit on that side. Widen the arc out a little bit on this side. Okay. Alright, now we've got a nice continuum around the table. Then we're going to find this, the smallest piece, and we're going to place the pawn between that one and the next one in clockwise order. Each player takes 5 buttons, and then we are ready to go. So what you're going to do on your turn is, from the pawn, you look at the next 3 pieces in clockwise location around the table, and you're going to choose one of those to play onto your player board. So on each of the tiles, it's going to say a number of buttons that it costs, a number or an amount of time that it costs, and then some are going to have a certain number of buttons or not on them. So whenever you want to get one, you have to have the number of buttons available. So this one right here just costs 1 button, but it takes 5 units of time to get it into your board. So let's say that's the one that you want to do. So you're going to take 1, you're going to pay that, and then you're going to place this wherever you want in your board. And you can flip it over and place it in any orientation that you want. So let's say you just want to do that. Okay, then it's going to take 5 time. So you will then move your time token 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And since you crossed a button on the board, what you'll do then is look at all of the buttons that you have on your quilt, and you'll get that many every time you cross a button. So you spent 1, moved 5 in time, and got 1 button back. Then it'll come to me and I get to look at the next 3. So now maybe I say, well, I'm going to let's see, I will spend 3 buttons on this one, and then I will place it right here, and that one's going to have me move 2 times, 1, 2, and then I have a choice of these 3. So now maybe I choose well, I can really only afford this one. So I'll get this one and I'll place it here. That one costs me 2 buttons. And 2 times, 1, 2. So now I haven't yet crossed that button line, and I have no buttons left. So at any time you can choose to pass your turn. If you pass, you move until you are in front of your opponent, and for every space you moved, you take a button. So I moved 2 spaces, and in doing so, I crossed a button on the track. So I count up all the buttons on my board, which is 1, and I take them. So now I've got 3 buttons. And then it'll go to you. So then you will choose, let's see, you don't have 8, you don't have 10, you do have 3 though. So you can spend 3 to take this one. Maybe you go like that, and that is going to move you 1. And since you are still on top, you will get to go again. So now you look and you can't afford any of these, so you're going to pass and collect 1 button back since you move forward 1 space. Then it'll come back to me. So we will continue doing this around the board, adding more and more pieces to our quilts. And as we move around, whenever the first person crosses any of these single patches, you don't stop on them, they aren't spaces for time. You can see there's a divider with the stitching on the board. Anytime someone crosses one of those, they get to take that and add it to fill in any possible little, tiny spaces that you might have created. So let's say that you had done something like this throughout the game. Well, it's nice to get those little single pieces to fill in those gaps. You will then continue playing until you get all the way around to the center. Once you get to the center, you are going to total up all of your buttons. Each button is 1 point. And then you will count up all of the empty spaces on your board, and every empty space subtracts 2. So if you want to think of it, you can count up all of your buttons, and then for every space that's empty on your board, return 2 buttons to the middle, and the leftover buttons is your score. The other thing that scores is if you perfectly fill in, or the first player to perfectly fill in, a 7 by 7 square. It doesn't have to be from the corner, it can be in the middle, that's fine too. But the first person to fill in a perfect 7 by 7 square is going to get this token, which doesn't give you 7 buttons, which confuses me sometimes, or at least it did for quite a while. It just counts as 7 points, as if you had those extra 7 buttons, but they can't be used to spend during the game to get more tiles. You just take it, set it aside, and at the end of the game it's going to be worth 7 points. So, like I said, you'll total up all your buttons, plus 7 if you are the one who got this token, or maybe neither of us, neither player did. So then you'll subtract 2 points for every empty square. So as you can see from right off the bat, it does get pretty important to get some buttons early on, but it also matters to try and look and see how many buttons you spent for each square, because remember, each empty square is going to subtract 2 buttons. So if you're able to fill in a pretty large number of pieces for just 1 button, even though it doesn't get any buttons on here, it can be worth a lot. The other thing to consider is early buttons are going to be worth more, because if you manage to get, let's see, where's one that's relatively affordable that has multiple buttons on it? Is there one? And this one right here costs 5 buttons, but it's going to give you 2. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If this is the first piece you get, and you place it on your board, and you're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you're going to cross 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So this is going to give you, this one piece alone will give you 18 buttons through the rest of the game. So you have to think of that too. However, as soon as you play it, you're going to go across there and you're going to only have 2 buttons for your next turn, which may mean you might have to pass once or twice. So there's a lot to weigh in this game. You're going to have to make those decisions between spending 1 button. I mean, this is a big piece, but it does take 4 time, but it gives you 1 button also. So you're weighing those basically two different currencies, but also the factoring in of points as far as how big that piece is, and then how well it fits in your quilt. You've got buttons, that is a form of currency, but your time is also a form of currency. And then the amount of space that you have to fill is also a major consideration, as well as the actual configuration of that space as you go through the game. So making everything work out, you're probably going to get a negative score for your first couple games, and that's fine. It's quite possible that the winner is going to still have a negative score for their first couple games that you play if you're both new players. And that is just fine. You will figure out a little bit of how to maximize your efficiency with the space utilization, as well as managing your buttons and your time. Okay, now you've got a pretty good idea of how to set up and play through Patchwork by Uwe Rosenberg and published by Mayfair Games. If I missed anything or if I was unclear on the rules, please let me know in the comments section below so I can straighten myself out. And if you have any other recommendations on videos that I should make or games that I should review, please let me know as well, and I'd love to engage with you in discussion. And if you're looking for where to buy this game, keep an eye in the description section for macronovagames.com, where you can buy Patchwork and many other great games. And while you're in the description section, you'll probably also be looking for a link to for my full review of Patchwork. Until next time, I want to thank you so much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe if you like what you see. And as always, have a wonderful day.